All right then, chat. Did much go down while I was away? Let's actually check in on our beta babies. Wow, that is a lot. My goodness. And the thing is, we will hear this across the entire surface when this kicks in. All right. Let's get back to this. I think what I need to do is I need to work backwards. I need to decide how many bullets am I producing on this thing. What's the speed of production that I want? And then work out how much I'm going to need to be bringing in from that. So, I'm going to say I at least want 2.5 ammo per second, but realistically, probably want 5 rounds of ammo being produced a second. Well, that being said, do I remotely use that up? Pridwine would be a good indication of this. How much ammo do we have versus how much we're using? I've got over 1,000 in here. Alright, Pridwine builds it up for quite some time. But I think Pridwen needs... Basically, my safety point is 500. And that's just basic yellow ammo. Also, out of curiosity, like how often do you get the small asteroids? Do you ever get the small asteroids? They only come from broken mediums, fair. Okay. So if we have a look at the... Oh, actually, let's... How much did we have before we set off? 1K, apparently. So we'll see what we're sat at by the time we get to our destination. But I think it's we only burn through like 200 or 300. Constantly making more. It's basically not dropping. And this is with how many? We've got 2 production facilities pulling in a fairly paltry amount of ore. We've only got 8 of these. Would be producing 6 per second, and what 2 of these would, you know, it's about that. It's not great, certainly. Yeah, the faster you travel, the faster the asteroids spawn, yep. That's why our speed is kind of managed around 100. Almost reached our destination, and we have. Yeah, we managed to keep our we never drop below 1,000. I don't know how much I used, but... And that's just off 2 of these. Well, obviously, if a wider ship is going to use more to protect itself. So there is that to be considered. Whatever I do, I want the production to effectively be split. So it'll make yellow bullets and it'll put it onto the ammo belt. And then somewhere else, the piercing ones, if they've got everything else, will pull yellow bullets off the ammo belt in order to try and make piercing bullets. But if they can't for any reason, then the yellow bullets will just stay on the belt. That's my goal. This would basically be 1 line. Do I need more than that? I don't know. But this would potentially give me enough, assuming that I had the bullets needed being drawn off the belt. So at some point, I would want the ammo belt to feed through here and get replaced as and when. Or just have it like this, honestly. Now, for that, I would need 5 iron and 4 steel. I wish I could tell these what I was hoping for them to produce, just so that it would show me what their output would be. Well, I suppose I can go to Nauvis and have a look at that. $1.1 a second, using a bit less than that of ore because of the productivity. So I'd need 5 of these to fuel 1 yellow belt. Yellow ammo production. And then as far as this goes, I need 1 plate to make 0.25 steel with productivity, effectively, again. And we're going to need 1.2, about 2.5. So that's a lot, actually. Good lord. Alright. If I want them to be able to run constantly. Now, do I expect us to need that? No. So I shouldn't plan for peak production. I should find some sort of middle point and just do that. Maybe I just go for one ammo belt and like the piercing ammo will be made as it can be, but otherwise the ship will hang back and sit in orbit while it's restocking itself for ammo. I find out how much ammo it needs in one trip, and then I build for that. Peridwen only needs about 200-300. And these wouldn't have productivity either. They would have to have efficiency. Alright. Well, given that, I'm going to want to bring this up. Actually, I kind of want the highest efficiency, if I'm perfectly honest. For the sake of space travel, let's make that a thing that we're doing. Also, I kind of want the quality mods in there. Have I got any of those? Quality? I've got 2 of an uncommon quality. Actually, let's throw those into the accumulators. Oh god, what did I do? That was a mistake. Oh well. I guess we're doing this. There we go. And get the rest of them in there. There we go. Right, so basic. Next one up. Tertiary. Each one feeds into the next. Not going to go for quality on... Well, I mean, I could, but... If I'm going to do that, then I need this to be set up somewhere else. I do have red and green down here that I could pull off. Yeah, let's make that. So we're going to do a similar thing that I have elsewhere, and that is I'm going to pull in the basic version of it. And now, actually, yeah, we should go for the whole thing. I can always pull from that elsewhere if I need it. Now, the idea here is that I won't be using quality. There's no point to use quality thinking about it. Simply because if I have quality in the mix, then I need quality other reagents, and that's going to be an absolute nightmare. That needs red and blue. This needs red and blue plus spoilage. So I could just set these up to purely use box. But I've got blue over there. Or red just down here. So this one needs green. To get the green up there is going to involve a tunnel. Let's put that here. And a bridge. And this one needed, yeah, it still needs red, so we'll take it all the way up. As for blue, how do I want to bring this over here? I could probably run it through here without too much trouble. It's kind of ugly, but it does work at least. Go. And spoilage is also going to need to be requested here. So that means I need a steady supply of spoilage over here. How much spoilage do I need for this? Only 5. Yeah, let's not worry too much about that then. Let's request 100 of each one. Right, this should enable if the basic circuits are less than a full stack. This one should enable if the tier 2 modules are less than a full stack. I should just feed endlessly. And then that should make this available. Now, this one will have quality modules in it. And these ones will have speed modules, I guess. And let's just go with the basic ones. Right, and finally, we want power. There we go. Right, that should get me everything I need. It's going to eat through my circuits, though, but... in fact, on that note, let's just limit this. How much of these can I send up in a rocket? Rocket capacity is 50, so 1 stack size. So let's be cautious. I will allow you to make 2, but that's it. I'm going to need this one to be filtered for quality equals that. And then the next one is going to be whatever. Quality is greater than. That won't be filtered though. It should just put as, if it's got a decent supply of those, then it should use them. There we go. Right, hopefully that will start kicking out some decent efficiency modules for us. Okay, so back to this. Do I desperately want that much production of ammo? Bridge 1 is getting by with an output of 2 a second. This would be way more than that. What I could do is have 2 of them for producing yellow. And then 3 making piercing. So I've got some ammo always on the belt, but I'm not dedicating this much room to production of ammo, because that feels really excessive. Also, how am I going to move the ammo through this? It would probably be something like that at some point. But I would still need to bring in the actual materials as well. Which for yellow is just iron plates, but for this is 2 completely separate materials. So it would probably be something more like this. And move that across by 1. And then something along those lines, I'm thinking. Because it doesn't need a lot of anything. So these could narrowly pull off that belt. Then this would add to this one, pull from that one. Actually, I need both of these to pull, because they need to pull the yellow ammo off the belt occasionally. So this then would be my copper and steel line. This would be my iron plate line. Man, this is getting complicated. But that would give me the ammo. And it would ensure that there is yellow ammo on the belt as well. Though realistically, if I've got it built like this, then unless there is a lack of copper or steel, then the yellow ammo will always get pulled off. Kane said, I wonder if there's any other Gleba tech that could be really useful on platforms. Unless, well, I mean, unless you're trying to allude to rockets. Then no, because the other Gleba tech is the biochamber, and that won't work on a platform. Oh, stackers. Well, I mean, that would make sense. I'm using them over here, for example, so you can't easily see them, but I am using them. As for putting ammo on the belt, I will say that whilst, yes, that would allow me to make the belt more dense, it would also delay things getting onto the belt until there was a backlog of ammo. I think one thing that people don't pay enough attention to is that a stacker will not move until it's got a full hand, which in this case means 16 items. So each of these would basically wait until they've produced 16 units of ammo before the stacker would even start loading onto the belt. And in that time, I might have lost a chunk of my ship. You don't want to delay a critical resource getting onto the belt. I mean, it's fine once you're going. Once the system is primed, but even then, there's a degree of worry for it. Can you override the... You can override the hand size, yeah. You can. But at that point, is there really much reason to? Because you're going to be paying the power for it anyway. No, I really do like the idea of just having some of the yellow ammo pulled off the belt where it can be, and then replaced with piercing ammo. But otherwise, the ammo just remains on the belt. Yeah, I quite like the idea of that. As for the copper plates, it'll be very similar situation to the iron plates. So 2 of those per, effectively. Well, that's a good point, actually. With stacking, I guess I should be making more use of the belts to make sure that it is, rather than just stockpiling things in here, just make use of denser belts. Yeah, that is a very good point, actually. So I'm going to need iron being made, some of that iron being turned to steel, and some copper being made as well. Do I want to use a sushi belt for this? Only for the copper and iron. Else, that would cause problems. I can certainly use a feed belt for sushi, but the supply belt giving it back to the hub would need to be a different breed entirely. Okay. Let's start moving some things around, shall we? With purpose. I want to have access to things over on this side, so let's say I have... two yellow ammo belts. This is the ammo line. Let's have that just down a little bit more, just so it's a bit more clear. Actually, copy this. Now, I want the output to be this. I don't want to add more yellow ammo onto the belt unless I absolutely need to. This should be loading steel plate. Now I can also use this belt. Like if the iron plate isn't being used by this, then it gets turned into steel. That might not be a bad way to do that. Since I know at that point that I didn't need the steel down here. Or rather the iron. Now, how much steel I would need depends entirely on how many of these I'm going to have, and I'm really leaning towards just taking what I can off this belt as it passes through. So first it'll load out, because I'll be making this a lot faster. First it'll load everything with yellow, at least at the top, but then it'll start to switch that over to steel, or rather piercing rather, and I'm fine with that initially. I don't know if only 2 is going to be enough though, so there's a part of me that's thinking maybe instead I use 4 at this point. Actually, I could make this a little bit better. Honestly, I could just go for the 6, looking at it. Though I would need to get the copper and steel to these in some fashion. How? How do I do that part? Unless I do this. Yeah, that would work. Does need to be a mixed belt though. But it would work. That's actually kind of I like that. That's relatively it's a relatively tight build there. As you may have noticed, I like those. Yeah, that looks quite nice, in my opinion. Right, okay, let's nix these. Now got that where it needs to be. I do still need the copper and steel. I move this back a bit. Would I be able to still fit that? That's about my limit. Problem is, this little design here needs a bit more room. I guess I could do this, though. Sure, I mean, this is a specialist site, so it's going to look a little bit different. That's fine. So, I want this, effectively, but mirrored. I also don't need to worry about that part. It gives me a little bit more room to move things around over there if I need to. Not ideal, but does give me what I want. So this would be copper plate. This would be steel. Okay. So far, so not terrible. Got a lot of things going on that side, which I'm not super duper happy with, but this gives me a little bit of room to play around with this side still if I need it. I really dislike that though. Ugh. Let's not do that. I'll give myself a hernia. That isn't much better. No, let's just have that as a basic belt. That's fine. Okay. The flashing is slowly driving me insane, so I am actually going to request some solar panels. Alright, what kind of solar panels do we have over here? We've got 2 rares, 15 uncommons. I'm just going to stick them anyway, just so that there's power on here. City Gold Dragon ship? Yes, ship. Aavak, you goofed on which belt is which. That's the Asteroid belt you're adding the hypothetical ammo to. Oh, did I? You're quite correct. You are ridiculously correct. Well played there. Very well spotted. Very well spotted. Thank you very much for catching that. You know what? Let's move this back over there. In that case, I need to go through... here. And put priority on right. There you go. Thank you for that. Right, so the ammo will be on the correct belt now. Hooray! Ammo there is good. Well, good is it's a very bold thing to say. I'm going to want to send back my... Actually... You know, since I have to go straight over there, if I do that, then I've got a little bit more room to play with other ideas over here. This is going to swing up. 2 of these will be able to satisfy the requirements of 1 of these. So I'm going to need a lot more than 2, is the reality that I'm faced with. That only allows for one. I can move this back a little bit. So I got the steel output line. So, plates, plates, steel, steel. Yep. Though, might it not be better to bring this down and around? Because then I could just send it straight back in here, where it will be withdrawn. Because I'm a glutton for punishment, when are you going to be going back to Clownfolk? I don't know, honestly. I hadn't really put much thought into it, if I'm perfectly honest. Ooh. Well now, that would definitely work then. Thank heavens for blue belts. Thank heavens for blue belts. My goodness. That makes things much easier for me. Well, not easier. It makes it prettier for me. Easier is quite another thing. We will take you through. I could then have you go down. To an inserter. There we go. So this is now able to bring back the steel. However, I need to control. And although this is a control signal, I'm reading it directly from a cargo signal. So I'm gonna pop that one in there. Enable if steel. It's less than, let's say, one, well, I don't know, how much steel should I have in stack? I'm just going to say one stack of steel. Like, I don't want to be stockpiling two, well, maybe 2 stacks. I've got a lot of room. Let's make use of it. Also, I think Peridwen actually makes sure there's a lot of iron available, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Yeah, I make sure there's like plenty of iron in the hold. So probably 200 is fine. It was so cool how the developers added your clan colors to the game. I know. It was so lovely of them. Is the ammo still on the wrong belt line? Oh my god, so it is. How did I manage that? Ugh. You're absolutely correct. I moved it around and then... Complete brain fart moment. Thank you for putting up with me. Actually, no, I do need that one to be there. So. Okay, how am I going to do this then? I guess... Technically, I don't need that one to be there. No, I don't. There we go. We've finally got that, chat. Thank you so much for correcting that, because I'm becoming a bit blind to this because I'm thinking of different things. So thank you ever so much for your patience there. There we go. That's all sorted now. All right. Not enough to fill. Oh, of course. Can I tell you to just bring up 2? Because I do want the best solar panels. There we go. So, steel is now being input. If there's enough. I need copper to be input. That's going to have to be taken out and added in. Now, the interesting thing is, I could have... Let's make multi-use of this. Actually, steel would back up, so no, let's not do it that way. Let's not do it that way. I could instead trigger these. Can I connect to those? No, I can't. Damn it. I could prevent this line from moving. Oh, God. Oh, God. What have I done? Oop. Let's turn all of these off. What do bad things happen to good people? I just want to tell these to enable if... let's give them an impossible one for now. I'm going to copy that. Well, actually, I need to wire all of them up first, but... Because these are going to be a little bit more distorted. They're going to be a bit more complicated for me to wire. Because I have to be mindful of the reading the content in here. So that's only there to control that for now. Because I'm going to have to think... I might just have to put it on the green wire, which it's not what I want to do. I could always have it read the contents of the belt, I guess. That is also an option. Nevertheless, what I want here is a simple check for copper. Well, actually, you know what? Thinking about it, no, I'm not going to have to worry about this because I'm forcing it onto each side of the belt. So it's not going to be able to back up at all. So I can absolutely have this here and filter copper plates to one side. And then load based on that. That won't be a problem at all. You're going to be an issue, unfortunately. What I would like to do is skip over here, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So instead, I'm going to scooch this up a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. A little lot. This will be producing 1 a second. This will want 2 a second. Basically, I'm ever so slightly overproducing what I'm consuming right now. Who dat? Multiply. Hello, mate. Let me guess. Were you playing a little bit of Bazaar? Aavak, how many hours are you on your save? My friends and I beat Space Age in just under 200 hours. I think I'm coming up to 200 hours, actually. I'll check for you now. This was from earlier. Yeah, 189 hours presently. We went to Gleba first. It slowed everything down pretty massively. Nope, still on the cursed hardcore Minecraft with friends. Why is it cursed? That's not very nice to say. We had some close shaves today, but it's been a great time. Did I catch you right before a tea break again? No. No, you did not, actually. We're about an hour away from a tea break. Gleba was an interesting joy, yeah. We're currently spaceship designing. It's very fun. I want to leave space here for a nuclear reactor. I really want to do that. I also need space somewhere for the production of iron. I also need space somewhere for the production of copper. Oh, curse is a difficulty thing. We take double damage. Armor is less effective. All neutral mobs are angry. Other very challenging options. This is our 9th attempt, and it's by far the longest run. Oh, wow. How long have you been playing, then? How long have you gone into that attempt? That sounds amazing. Chat, if you're not already familiar with Multiply, then please do click on the shout out at the top of the screen as soon as I spell it correctly. There we are. To drop them a follow. Fantastic individual. Super chill. Very dapper indeed. Even when they're not being chill, they're chill comparatively. Over 100 days, I'm pretty sure. But we're still only barely strong enough to stay in the nether, and we haven't touched the wither yet. Oh, wow. That actually sounds kind of amazing. Sounds genuinely quite amazing. So chat, if you're interested in seeing a cursed Minecraft hardcore run, then do consider checking out Moddy's VODs. I am going to need, for this to work, I still don't know how much room I'm going to need to put aside for a reactor. Because I'm kind of settling on the idea of having a nuclear reactor-powered ship. I'd say more of an Amar avatar. Just needs some white and gold paint. Well, and a spinal mount particle beam. Yeah, I mean, look. The avatar is love. The golden fleet is love. I'm not going to say it's life because it's the end of for a lot of people, but it is love. Ends you lovingly. I think we are going to need more ship. I think we are. I think there's no way around that reality now for us. I want this to be more curved if I can make it. I still very much want the reactor here. Maybe with the steam turbines up there, the reactor's kind of positioned here, maybe. Let's remove that now. Don't need that. I guess I could have the copper ore and the iron plate. No, because then it would get loaded in a very weird way. No. I need copper ore to be very distinct. Now, the copper and the iron ore could go on to the same line. There's something to be said about that. If I loaded copper and iron ore onto the same line, and then let that circle, that might work. Move these away. Also move these. This is so much more ship than I was initially intending to make. But trying to work in the new materials is a bit of a pain. I'm not gonna lie. Have I got a spot with asteroid stuff? Yeah, I do. Sort of. Actually, no, not really. That's a pain. Wouldn't have minded having the vent be somewhere around it. I guess I could use this section. Yeah, I could do something along those lines. I could possibly have the event for any overstock of asteroids. Sort of thinking about down here. Alpha, if you want to post a picture of a ship, sure, I'll give you a permission. Give me a moment. There you go. I would have loved to have vented excess, though, over here for the simple reason that it would look good. You know, the exhaust port being at the exhaust feels right. So right, in fact, that I'm genuinely looking for a way that I could make that happen. No, I can't easily see a way that I can make that work. Wow, such a shame. That would have been awesome. Yeah, closest I would be able to put it is about there. With one possible exception. I would need to modify the shape a little bit in order to make it happen, but that's kind of like, am I really going to do that? But if I were to move this out by one, so there instead. Then move these across like so. And yeah, I am going to this much effort just for this. Then move this up. Like so. I'll need to shuffle that in a little bit, but I could make it happen. No, I'm kind of hemmed in on this side, so that would be very difficult. I would have to forego more of my rear protection, which I'm not comfortable. Well, that being said, these can reach. Maybe. Oh, would I really do this just for the oh, who am I kidding? Of course I would. I could instead replace these with lasers at the back, banking on not really having to worry about being struck from the rear too much, and just having 2 gun turrets to deal with anything that the lasers can't handle. Either that or I move the engine, the entire engine assembly down by 1. That actually isn't a bad idea. That works. In fact, that works better, though. Oh, actually, no. Does that... Well, oh, that blocks, yeah. Alright, so I still needed to be proud. But it's more doable now than it was before. Let's get it done. And horizontal flip. At this point, however, I don't think that reaches... Oh, it does. Hold on. Oh, it doesn't reach there, though. Oh, damn it. Okay, fine. I will hook you up there. You'll be hooked up there. That's fine. I was thinking of doing that anyway, if I'm honest. Then just allowing it to pick what was on the belt. But I'm sort of feeling that I want a command signal for that, a proper command signal. Either way, we now do have exhaust ports. So I would have some sort of control. Oh, that needs to be the other way around. That would check what composition the asteroids on the belt were, and eject them if it's too dense. Which it shouldn't be too difficult for me to do. Though I am starting to think that I need a separate pole to carry signals along the outside. Either that, or I do in fact run this along the... Can I connect up like that? Oh, I can actually. I can connect very far. I might just have to do that. Where possible, branch, but otherwise just move along the belts like this. See, that way I don't have to worry about the command signal for the gatherers getting mixed up with the command signal for the thrusters or anything like that. As long as I make an effort to always connect to the belt that's nearest it. That should be okay. Can I get this across? I can. Marvelous. I'll try to mirror it, mirror the signal as well where I can. Just so it looks a little bit nicer. There we go. And up to here as well. Alright, there we are. That isn't too bad. And now I can use any one of these to just read the belt at all times. Though it's something I don't really want it to be reading other belts. Realistically, it's kind of bad form to do that. So in certain very select locations, I am going to have disconnected power poles that do not carry a command signal. Strictly so I can connect up like that. Just so that I can always be certain that this is the only belt that's moving this kind of information around. Otherwise, it's just going to be a nightmare for me. It's going to be a nightmare here as well. So I'm going to need to find a way to get that across. I guess here will do. Let's just disconnect them from the electric network, because realistically it shouldn't, none of these should be connected with that, and it's just cluttering the view. Power is transmitted wirelessly on a stations, on a platform, so there's absolutely no reason to have all of these wired up like this. Just makes things way harder for me to see what's connected to what, where, why, etc. I'm only using these to transmit command signals. These ones need to be connected. I think having these... Let's move this one up by one. Likewise there. I think having these ones connect... They're not. Oh, sorry, I was using the power connection there. My bad. Like that, and these. I think there's actually a key that you can use to disconnect every wire if you really want to do that. We're not in this particular instance, but that is an option. Let's just hook those up like so. Just so I can see it. Don't need this one. Don't need that one. Since these connect along these wires, which... along these paths, which are correct. This one, not so, though. Can I connect over? Ah, damn it, I can't. Okay. Then this one will have to connect over here, then. That's fine. There we go. That should now only have this command. Oh, no. Haven't done this. Last one needs to be connected up. And there we go. All right. That should now be enough. This wire is only going in one place, so I could just read any of these, or I could tell them all to read it. I'm not sure how that would affect it, if it would end up reading it twice, so I won't do that. But now I can very clearly see that this is all on the right cable. Because all of these have the kind of wings now. If you shift left click a power pole, doesn't it remove all wires? Ah, there we are. Shift left click. Alright. Yeah, I'm super glad they made wires free, because as someone who does a lot of combinator stuff, that was always such an absolute nightmare. Okay, so I could load copper ore and iron ore onto one belt. I could then feed the copper ore, copper plate and iron plate back to the hub. And I think that's better than steel, personally. Now, where am I going to put these? I think I'm going to have them live over here. I'm almost certainly not going to be bringing my ammo across just yet. That's going to keep going up, I think. Now, here's the question. How do I want to set this part up? To run this much, I needed 8 of these dedicated to making iron plate. It's not like I've reduced the amount that I'm using. I've just added extra stuff that I need to make. But I will probably use the copper and the iron at different rates. So I could have this load a circular belt with iron or copper, depending on what it needs. Like if there's a deficiency of copper plates, it lets the copper loader activate. If there's a deficiency of iron plates, it lets the iron ore loader activate. And it just threads a sushi belt around them, and then whatever gets made gets brought out and deposited. That actually might not be a bad way of doing it, to be fair. I don't think I can get away with using that method though. So I'm going to set this one up for iron plate. Iron ore. I'm going to set this one up for copper ore. And I'm going to hook these up like so. This one will activate if iron plates are less than 200. This one will activate if copper plates are less than 200. There we go. And this is going to be a sushi belt in order to keep the space fairly minimal. Input priority will be the right. So only new stuff will be added over time. And since it's not going to be lane balancing in any other way, this should be okay. We'll see how it goes, obviously. Now, whatever it produces does absolutely need to be pulled off the belt. There can be no if, buts, or maybes on this one. If it's been made, it gets loaded. In fact, let's control whether it unloads instead. So this should happen if... this should activate if... Oh, well, no, because I need this to run ammo. Okay, so this can be a rare exception. But these should only be given something to smelt if I have a need for it. This one is using the runoff of iron plates, so it's a little bit of a different deal. I always want iron plates on this belt because that allows me to produce ammo. Eventually that'll back up. Eventually this will back up. It'll stop pulling iron plates off the belt. Copper should only... Copper will be pulled off on this... Oh, goodness. This side. There we go. I cut instead of copied. Copper will be pulled off on this side. Steel on that side. That is wrong side now. Let's make sure that's in the middle. There we go. And that will dictate how these smelters operate. So there's twice the amount of smelters for the basic plate as there is for the steel. I'm still not sure that's going to be enough, but it is what it is. I am having loads of fun making spaghetti. Yep. It's the best part of Factorio. Actually, could that reach? Oh, just shy. Why would you do this to me? Because you hate happiness, that's why. I wanted this to be ever so slightly more compact. And I do feel that it is still a little bit more compact by doing it this way. That being said, it still needs to come out there. But I'm going to need to set up the reactor over here as well. I want the stack... Well, do I want stack inserters here? That's the question. I guess maybe this one isn't going to be able to use it though, so it's not as useful. All right, we can trial this with stack inserters. I am not convinced that this is a wise move, though. Really not convinced about this, especially because in many places I can't do it on both sides. Though in this particular instance, that's a positive because I'll have some on the belt that aren't stack inserted and some that are, so it will get on there somewhat quickly. Same down here, actually. We'll do it that way. That way I always know that some of them are going to get where they need to be. This is making some people's brains melt right now. You know what? I'm going to be kind for once. For once, I'm going to be kind to you. Don't get your hopes up. This is not going to be a normal thing. This is mostly because I can't abide with the fact that it's going to be weirdly stacked. Could I possibly have this go around the outside? Is it at all possible for me to make that work? be far tighter. I'd have to cut the amount of factories that I'm using. But honestly, this entire build has kind of cut that back. So maybe if I really try very hard, I can possibly do that. So, we're going to get rid of this one. This is the copper and steel belt. Get rid of all of these. Pull this down. We'll mirror this. Now, trying to make this into a loop is going to be an awkward one. It might be possible. The loop would have to start there, though. This is the tricky bit. This is the tricky bit. I can almost make this work. Save for that. I could adjust the shape. So that's 2 to 3. 2 to 3. No, that's 4. Oh yeah, no, that's correct. And then 1 to 4. 1 to 4. Okay, no, that does work. All right. So the thing with this is I'm going to need to move these two back by 1. Just going to need to scrunch it up a little bit. Like so. And this is going to have to connect to here. Oh, you absolute scoundrel. Never mind. We can do this, I guess. Why do you hate fun so much? There we go. Oh crap. Back to sleep. That wasn't where I wanted to connect it. It's my bad. There we go. That's better. There we go. Right, okay. That now works a little bit better. Move this part back. Strictly speaking, I don't need to make that one work this way, but yeah, I don't need to make that one work this way. I just need this. There we go. That will scooch out and around and up. And back around. And down. There we go. And don't worry, I will find uses for all of these little spots I've got all over the place. There we are. So the copper and steel can load onto this belt, go around, get loaded in here. disconnect you. There we go. And that allows me to stack the piercing ammo. Am I going to do it here? You already know the answer. Why do you even doubt me for a second? What would be the best way to do this? I think that's maximum length already. Yeah, it is. Let's have a look. How can I move this around? I mean, I could turn this into a loop as well. It just doesn't really seem as useful for the steel smelters, if I'm honest. I mean, the plate would just go round in a circle for no particular reason. That being said, I mean, it's not the worst thing. But let's rotate it this way instead. However, this one I want the input to come from the plate that's already in the system. The only issue here is it's not going to give priority to these anymore. And that is a bit of an issue. It's not what we want. Is there a way that I can make that better? Right, so the ammo line is going up this way. It's kind of all over the place, really, compared to the ammo line on this side, which goes straight down like that. So this is already slightly out of place. How about we embrace that? And instead, I do something a little bit like this. That gives me a little bit more room on this side then. There we go. And that will allow me to move this system across by a tiny bit. And that's all I need to ensure that the loading for the steel smelter only ever comes after the loading for the ammo. I mean, this part isn't nice anymore, but I'll live with that small loss. Though that being said, I could still do this, I suppose. There we go. And then steel goes out this way. Actually, I could do it like that. No. I really dislike having belts like that at weird angles. There you go. Right, so this will load only up to, as long as it's below 200. This will only feed if the things are below 200. And because we've got an enormous cargo area, I shouldn't have to worry too much about things getting out of hand in there. All right, so that's all of the production we want for both iron, copper, and... Sorry, both. And steel. Getting a little bit concerned about the space that we're going to put the reactor, though. I'm not going to lie. Because with this, I still need to fit a place which crushes the asteroids. And I still need to find a place for ammo at the top. Copy this across. And horizontal. That's a little bit too severe, isn't it? Something like that. Yeah. The forward guns shouldn't be too much of a problem, honestly. There's just lots of guns. We're gonna want a collector somewhere around here. But more forward facing, I'm thinking. Might even be inset would be the best idea there. I don't need perfect coverage, but there is apparently that wants it. So something like this. I wouldn't have coverage right at the front, but I'm not terribly upset about that. I've still got to position the crushers. That's still a requirement for me. Actually, I might want to create a little gap there, just so that I can run the cabling across. There we go. And at this point, I'm going to say I could probably... Ooh, that is not connected for some reason. Why? That is not. Oh, yeah. There they are. Facing the wrong way. Don't want unloading. And then, where are you? All right. Now then, that's my window for the collectors. I could have a final collector over here. I'm not really feeling that I need one, though. If I did, would it even fit equally? No, it wouldn't. Therefore, it doesn't get to exist. It had a moment. I considered giving it the right to existence. Sadly, it was dumb. Chose to instead be forgotten. Now that we've got that set up, I can pop down the crushers. Could even fit 4 of them if I really wanted to. Not sure that that's wise, though. They are power-hungry beasts. Would I need more than 3, realistically speaking? No. No, I would not. I don't think we would, anyway. Now, one is going to be grabbing ice or possibly calcite. One is going to be grabbing iron or possibly copper. And the final one is only going to be grabbing carbon. Do I want to lane balance these? Kind of do, but also kind of don't. So that's just going to make it more awkward for me. Well, I suppose with that going all the way around and only having to lane balance in one specific way, it certainly could be worse. And since this is the section that is going to be doing the lane balancing, I will do that instead. These all need to read and hold. As does that. Oh, actually, no. No. Sure, these can. But having the part that reads all of the belts being far away is wise. Because for something to get all the way down here and break it would take an enormous amount of effort. Oh, I don't remember which one it was now. It's one of these. One of them is... Was it not this one? Oh. There we are. Something getting all the way down here is going to be quite difficult. But something hitting there, not so hard at all. In fact, bordering on likely. How many guns do I want at the front here? How many guns can I fit at the front here? At least that many. Let's mirror this like that instead. Because that way I can have this load with a fast loader and then these load with slower loaders. It is all about presentation, yes. Megamind got it right. shake this. Okay, we are going to want this to be blistering with guns at the front here. And possibly even a couple behind. I need to bring this one back a little bit further. No, I'm gonna have to remove that one. That will work. Just because I can. I guess they would be fine. Hang on a second. That's misaligned. What? Where did I go wrong? That seems aligned so far. Is that really misaligned? No, no, it's not. Thank heavens. That would have done me a mischief. I do need that one to be one lower, though. There we go. All right. I think this should be enough guns at the front. I'm not entirely sure. We're going to hope it is. Because if it's not, I definitely can't fit anymore. Right. No kill like overkill. All the darker, all the time. Exactly. It would be, frankly, criminal if I got messed up by an asteroid when I have this many good guns to use. Criminal. Right, this one is going to have its recipe set in a different way, but I'm going to say that this one's metallic, so this one should always use and remove metallic. This one will be ice, because that one's going to have its recipe set differently, and this one then can be carbonic. And since I'm not trying to get any sulfur, this one is the only one that doesn't need a special recipe or a way of setting that recipe. All right, now the big issue for me though is getting all of the gubbins that's going to be coming out of these down all the way down here. Because basically I'll need 3 separate loading areas. Like so. This one... Oh, crap. Oops. Right, yeah. So... If this does that, it'll produce 20. It'll produce 10 and 4. This one produces 10. This one will produce 3 and 2. This one actually produces a lot less than anything else. So I'm going to say that this one can have 2. 1 for ice. Potentially. 1 for calcite. Where's calcite? There we go. This one just has carbonic. Or carbon, rather. And then this one will have the opposite here. And it will be iron ore and copper ore. Well, realistically, I could just load the iron ore and copper ore in there. But I do need some of the iron ore to go down here, so I can't do that now. This one just needs to get all the way down here, frankly. The calcite... I mean, it might have been better if I'd had these loading down there instead. But it is what it is. Now, I can still make use of this space by using tunnels. So all is not lost. It's a bit squished. Now, I don't want these to load unless there is a certain percentage of material needed. Oh, well, actually, no, this one has to load these. Has to load both. Ah, oh, damn it. So I'm going to need to control these instead at source, I think, and just always allow them to load whatever. Yeah. I guess I could use these just to dump a decent amount onto the belt at a time. Do I know the direction that this wall is output on? Not that I could fit it anyway, I guess. I was gonna say I could try and load it evenly on the belt, but it doesn't really. Well, actually. No, actually that would work. So if I do this, and it's going to be on this side, it's going to come down through here. Oh, well, no, it's going to be on this side, damn. I rotate it though. then that should work. So it'll be on the outside. Go down here, be on the outside there, and then it'll be on the... Yeah, no, that'll load the belt evenly. Good. All right. So this gives us the crushing, though. I still need to decide how I'm choosing what recipe to use. And also whether this is allowed to load or not. Because they are going to need that. Okay, so it's at this point that I need decider combinators. If if I'm low of copper, then I'm going to want to set the recipe to... Yeah, actually this won't be too bad. I'll make the command signals down here though. The problem is with this, this one will have to be activated based on whether copper or iron is low. This one will have to be activated on whether ice or calcite is low. I really do wish that I could just load these in a bit more of a stable way. Actually, I think I can. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to fit the reactor, though. I'm going to be honest. At this point, I'm getting very concerned. I am actually getting quite concerned. But let's filter copper ore out here. At this point, it is... This one will only load iron if the iron in there is less than 1 stack, which is... actually, let's say it's less than 4 stacks. So I'm going to want to be converting this... Well, actually, no. Let's make this 100. There. This one will only activate if copper ore is less than 100, and since they're going to be on distinct sides, it's not going to matter. Same thing down here. Flipped. This will be for calcite. This one will only load ice if ice is below 100, so 2 stacks. This will only load calcite if calcite is below 2 stacks. Make sure that calcite stacks the same amount. Yep. Gonna be interesting to see how that works. And then finally, this one. This leaves so little room for a reactor though. Oh my god. This one will only load carbon. Actually, I should just copy that across. If it is below 2 stacks as well. There we go. Just to make sure that that is balanced correctly. Yep. Okay. So that gives us the items we need. I could maybe... No, it says far down there now as it can be. All right. That is everything we should need, with the exception of what's deciding what the recipe should be. So let's throw that together quickly. Also, it's time for another tea break. My lord. Can this connect? Yes, it can. I'm going to finish up doing this little bit of logic here, though. So... I wish you could have an else, but the only way to have an else is to have two of these in a row. If calcite is below, I don't know, one stack. Oh, sorry, not calcite. If copper is below one stack, then output the advanced metallic asteroid recipe. Copper is above one stack, then output the regular metallic asteroid crushing. Or, so I'm going to give priority to iron here. So we'll make that and. There we go. And this command signal controls what recipe this is going to use. There we go. Iron is the most important because I can make regular ammo without copper. And I also need iron for my thrusters. Over on the far side, though, we're going to have a different setup. I need to see if that'll connect. If calcite, because I won't make thruster fuel, so I kind of need to well, I guess water also. But without calcite, I can't use the water anyway. So I'm going to say if ice is below 50, but calcite is above 50, then output the recipe to just do regular oxide crushing. But if the opposite is true, then go for calcite. Oh yeah, and these are allowed to work whenever. Look at that. We've already got stuff happening. Haven't got much power, so, you know, there's that. Good morning, Manaway. No, the presence of them will not jam this up, Sons of Hanu, because they are only loaded onto separate sides of the belt, and so that filter will always have access to this side of the belt, which is the copper side. So that will never be the case. We should be fine. Right. Okay, let's have a look back on Nauvis and see if I've got any of the tier 3 modules. I've got 50 of them. Minus 40, that's minus 48. So it's actually a rare. Level 1 is better than a level 2. Why do I not have any level 3s though? Is it I don't have spoilage? Is it I don't have spoilage? Balls. Right. Because I'm getting rid of all my spoilage. So, given that, I need that to exist. I did not set that up, and that was very silly of me. Oh my lord. Nope. That is now precious. No! No biter babies! Oh, god damn it. That was entirely on me. There we go. Feed them to the furnace, for which they crave. Ah. Fulfilling their purpose at last. Okay, well that super sucks because I've been kind of hoping that these were available for a long time, but it's going to take ages to be made as well. Oh, okay. Crafting of the efficiency module 3 is not too bad. All right. Well, when we come back off tea break, we'll be going into probably the final part of the stream, the final 2 hours of the stream. We want to set up a reactor. Have I got room for a reactor? Probably not. But I want to do one anyway. So we will see what we can make work. I may extend out this shell a bit and reshuffle some things around in order to try and make some more room centrally for a reactor to exist. We'll see what we can do. The children are cold and crave the comforting warmth of the furnace. Exactly. Exactly. You understand. Glad to see it. All right, okay. It is now time for tea break. Back soon, chat.